Hi, my name is April and welcome to the Yoga Ranger Studio and welcome to your practice. Our practice today is going to be focused on opening up hip tightness. So when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I find that everything has become stuck, basically from the middle of my thigh all the way up to my belly button, and there's a lot of stiffness in there. And for the rest of my day, if I don't work this area and open it up a little bit, my whole day, like my lower back hurts, everything's a little bit stiffer and tighter, and it just kind of, it's like this cascading tile effect for me. So this is for all of you who feel that same way. If you are a tin man or a tin woman like myself, this practice is for you. Don't need any props today, just your mat or the floor, that'll work just as well. And we're gonna start on our backs in supine bound angle. So bringing the bottoms of the feet together, lay all the way down, tuck the shoulder blades underneath, take your hands to your belly and just settle into your practice, settle into your breath. And start to notice your breath, taking those three-part breaths. Inhale, belly, chest, collarbones spreading. Exhale, collarbones contract slightly. Chest deflates, belly deflates. Start that process all over again. And notice your breath as it begins to move into the back body, into the sideways, expanding out and back as well as forward. You're setting your intention for your practice, whatever that may be today, to have a good day, to feel better, to smile, to change the world, whatever your intention may be. Feeling your knees fall down toward the floor. Just another couple of breaths here. So when we're working with the hips, there's a lot of dense tissue here, a lot of muscles. I want to hold these poses a little bit longer to get a little deeper in there, especially if you're a tin man, tin woman, right? Take your hands to the outside of your hips, bring those knees together. Go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. Grab whatever you can and maybe just rock a little bit side to side, maybe make some circles, giving yourself a little lower back massage. Who doesn't want to start the day with a good lower back massage, right? Change directions a few times. Open your eyes, take that left foot flat, bring that right knee into your chest. You can take your hands behind your knee if you have any knee issues, or you can take it in front. Circle the ankle, point and flex the toes. Wave like the queen, wake up the ankles, pull that knee in just a little bit closer. And keeping that left foot firmly planted, you're going to take that right hand to the inside, but grab the outside of the foot. So if that's not possible, grab hold of the ankle, or whatever you can grab hold of. You're going to press the heel up toward the ceiling, knee comes down towards your right underarm, and still keep pressing that left foot into the floor. Get a little stability here. Half happy baby, because half a happy baby is better than no happy baby, right? Remember that three-part breath. So if you're someone who enjoys the Ujjayi breath, that sound kind of like Darth Vader breathing, this would be a great practice to engage that. Give yourself a little bit of energy. Pure, deep, long breath. Pull that knee in a little bit further. So you're going to use your bicep and tricep power, not just your shoulder, to kind of pull that leg in a little bit more. Here's where that Ujjayi breath really helps, right? Go ahead and release that leg. Switch sides. Bring that left knee into the chest. Circle and point the toes. Flex the ankle. Wave like the queen. Hug that knee in. Press that right foot into the floor nice and firm. And then reach inside the leg. Grab hold of the outside of the foot. That was Lucy's brief "I'm here and how are you people." Pull the knee in. Keep pressing that right foot into the floor. Get stability and strength here. Bicep and tricep power. So we tend to often kind of use our shoulder and kind of lock that shoulder in place. We want to keep the shoulders open and relaxed here. Now, if you notice one side is a little more stuck than the other, that happens every now and then. Sometimes that will change, or you might have a side that tends to have a little bit more of a struggle each day than the other. That's where you can send some really nice, clean Ujjayi breaths in there. And then release that foot. Bring the knees into the chest, give them a little hug. Take your hands behind your knees and roll all the way up to a seat. So bring the bottoms of the feet together. You're gonna sit up nice and tall. Grab hold of your big toes or your feet. Lift and lengthen the spine. Bring those knees down toward the floor. So the minute you kind of lift and lengthen, those knees are gonna start to rotate toward the floor. Exhale, fold forward. So we're gonna spend 5 to 10 breaths in each one of these poses. Remember, we're not in yin here, so we're in a yang practice. You want to engage the muscles and pull yourself a little forward, a little bit more. Keep the back long, but at some point your back is naturally going to curve over, and that is perfectly okay. When a lot of people think about the hips, they think about the outside of the hips. There's an inside to the hips, and front and a back. Lots of areas to work into. Lift up just a little bit, exhale a little bit deeper into the fold. And then come all the way up, bring those knees together and come on to hands and knees. So on an inhale, arch and round. Exhale. Little cat-cow here just to open up the spine. And big toes together, knees as wide as you feel comfortable, and shift back. So press your palms and shift your hips back as far as you can. Walk your hands forward into child's pose, an extended version here, arms way out. So in my view, if you can get as many of your body parts into a practice as you can and stretch as many areas as you can, that's the best way to do stuff. Even though we're focusing on the hips, it doesn't hurt to stretch the spine and the arms and the shoulders. On an inhale, come up on your fingertips like cupcakes that are underneath your palms. You're gonna walk your hands way over to the right. So lengthen and kind of twist a little bit. Fold forward, take that left hand flat. You can keep that right hand up in your cupcake fingers. And think about pulling that left hip away from you, away from your torso. One more deep breath here. And then come up onto cupcake fingers, walk back to center, fold forward. Same thing on the other side, walk the hands way over to the left, a little bit of a kind of a twist and lengthen. Take that right palm flat, left stays up in the cupcake fingers. Take that right hip away from the torso as much as possible. Ujjayi breath here if that feels comfortable for you, or just a normal breath, breathing in and out through the nose, 3-part breath. Come back to center, up on the cupcake fingers, stretch a little bit, press back through the fingers, shift the hips back. And then palms flat, spread your fingers wide, and step back into downward facing dog. It's the first downward facing dog of your practice, so be a little patient with yourself. Shake your head out yes and no. Maybe rock your hips side to side, walk your dog out. Maybe bend your knees deeply and kind of shift those hips up, and then start to straighten your legs. You can always keep a little bend in the knees if downward facing dog is not your hamstring friend. And then walk your feet back a little bit further so you take a wider stance here. On an inhale, take that right leg straight up and back. Exhale, sweep it through the outside of the right hand. And then go ahead and drop that back knee. So lizard pose or gecko. take that right foot out to the right. Come down to wherever you want to. That could be on your elbows, it could be on your palms. If you want more in this, you can always lift that back knee up. That'll take into account the front of the leg and the back of the leg. Feel yourself softening next to that inside leg, the hip. Feel maybe a little bit of the tightness and tension drifting away. Lucy's not a great fan of any kind of flow class. 2 more deep breaths. Now, while this may be a really hard pose to do if you're someone like myself first thing in the morning, it is also a great hip opener, works very effectively. It's kind of my go-to each morning. So go ahead and lift that back knee off. If you have it already off, you're already good. Step back to downward facing dog. Walk your dog out. Notice the difference between left and right here. Here, take that left leg straight up and back. Exhale to the outside of the left hand. Come down on that right knee if you want to. Turn the toes out a little bit. Come on the outside edge if that feels good for you. And come into your lizard or gecko pose. So if you ever wonder what the difference is, lizards have short tails, so the knee is down. Geckos have short tails, so their knee is down. Lizards have long tails, so their knee is up. Took me years to figure that out, so I thought I'd share that with you. A few more deep breaths here. Allow yourself to sink, so let the hips soften, not just the chest. So if you're starting to kind of dive forward here, lift up a little bit and let your pelvis soften, not just your upper shoulders here. Remember, it's never how close you get to the floor. It's where and how you feel a pose that really matters. Everybody's hips are different. The shape of the pelvis, the shape of the bones, your everyday practices in life. Inhale, lift that back knee up, bring that foot flat, step back to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Walk your dog out. Then on an inhale, take that right leg straight up and back. Bend the knee, open up the hip. You can come up on the right fingertips if you want to open that hip really far. And then palm flat, exhale, sweep that right leg all the way through in between your hands. If it doesn't make it, grab hold of that ankle and pull it through. Drop your left knee, come all the way up. Low lunge, Anjaneyasana. So you're gonna grab hold of that left wrist with the right hand. You're gonna pull a little bit over to the right. You're gonna feel this in the front of the hip flexor. Maybe as you go, you can pull a little bit further. One more deep inhale and exhale. Come back to center, exhale, hands down, step back to downward facing dog. Let's switch sides. On an inhale, take that left leg straight up and back, bend the knee, open up the hip. You can come up on the left fingertips, open up wide. Palm flat, step all the way through. Once again, if you can't make it, grab hold of that ankle, bring it up there where it needs to be, right? You can use whatever modifications work for you to get that foot there. Arms up overhead to start with here. Grab hold of that right wrist this time, pull over to the left. So from sitting, we get a lot of tightness in the front of the hip, and that's the hip flexor area. Think about how you sit, it kind of smashes it into more of a 90-degree angle. This also helps open up the IT band, an area that a lot of people struggle with just because of our lifestyles. One more deep inhale, pull a little bit further maybe. And then come back to center, hands down. Step back to downward facing dog, however you want to get there. From your downward facing dog, bend your knees, look up at your hands, tiptoe, walk or hop up to the top of your mat. Feet as wide apart as your hips as you need them to be. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend your knees more deeply. Come all the way up to the top. Palms together, exhale, hands to heart. So take that right leg, tuck it behind the left, so you can have like pinky toe to pinky toe, or as close as you can get to that. Arms sweep up overhead. You're gonna lean a little bit over to the right. Right arm goes down, left arm goes way straight up. Inhale, back up to center. Other side. We're gonna do this on both sides with a different twist. I know it may kind of feel sort of wobbly, but center those feet, spread the toes. Stretch down with the left hand, up with the right. So some people have asked me why I don't curve over, because I feel that kind of destabilizes the body, so it feels better for me to reach straight up. Come back to center, palms to heart. Uncross, switching sides. Take that leg behind you. So left is going to curl behind right, so right will be in front. Back up to center. Right hand goes down to right, left hand goes straight up. Reach, 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 reach. Your knees will be a little bit bent just because of the cross of your legs. So here we're stretching this area around the IT band, the TFL, the outside of the hip. Reach down with the right hand, up with the left. Switch sides, switch arms. Up with right, down with left. You can look wherever you want to, down at the hand or up at the hand. Whatever feels good for you. Come back to center, hands to your heart, unwind. So inhale, sweep hands up, look up at your palms. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway, hands to shins or to the floor. Exhale, fold. You're gonna bend your right knee deeply, right fingertips are gonna stay down, left hand's gonna sweep up in a twist. So your left leg is as straight as you want it to be. So the more you bend the right, the more you straighten the left, the more you're gonna feel this on the outside of the left hip. Twist and open, 3 more deep breaths. Ujjayi breath here if it feels comfortable. Exhale that hands down, switch sides. Bend that left knee, right leg goes straight, reach up. Notice the difference between left and right. One more deep breath. Exhale, unwind. Lift halfway, hands to shin. Lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend your knees and fold down a little bit. Come into Malasana or Garland pose. So inside of feet together. We're going to take a little variation of this. So I try to press the heels and the toes together, knees a little bit wide, and walk my hands out. Now you can either stay here with your hands out, or you can reach around, grab hold of the backs of your heels or ankles. And kind of grab on and let your chest and belly kind of dive through forward in between the knees. Come back to center. Walk your feet a little bit wider. So everybody has a different version of squat pose. I find that my knees do not like going down too low. So if you stay a little bit higher, take your elbows into the inside of your knees and just kind of sit back a little bit more. Some people find that they can come all the way down in between the ankles or feet. That's fine too. First thing in the morning, that's definitely not happening for me. There will be no squats first thing in the morning for me. Take the hands behind you, come all the way down onto your seat. I am not a fan of freestanding squat like first thing in the morning. It's just not somehow my friend. So you're gonna take that left leg behind you, right leg in front for easy seated pose, Sukhasana. Sit up nice and tall to start with, and then go ahead and fold yourself forward. Now, as easy as this pose may seem, there's a lot to be found for 4 to 8 breaths. Sensing where you're feeling all of this stretch, this opening. Lengthen, try to press those knees down toward the floor. And then lift up a little bit and walk your hands over to the right. Fold over that right knee. So maybe you're someone who has more opening in your hips and you can fold all the way down. Please go as far as you feel comfortable here. Or as far as your hips will allow you, would be more accurate. Walk back up to center, right hand around behind you, left hand to the outside of the knee and twist. That should feel good after a forward fold. Come back to center. Unwind. Cross left in front of right, or whatever you had in front first is going to go back behind. Sit up nice and tall to start with, and then walk your hands and fold forward. Remember to keep your back as long as you can at the base. You're going to naturally curve over when you hit your limit for length there. I try to keep my eyes out toward my fingers out in front of me versus looking straight down. That pulls on my neck a little bit more than I feel comfortable with. Lift up a little bit, walk your hands a little bit over to the left. Fold over that left knee, wherever that may be for you. This is my slightly less happy side. Walk your hands back up to center. Left hand around behind you, right hand to the outside of the knee, twist. Back to center, and come all the way down onto your back. Back to our back, right? So hands down to the floor, palms facing down. You're going to take that right leg up, cross it right at the ankle above that left knee. Here you have some choices. Flex the toes, press that knee away from you, or if you're feeling like you have more opening, you can reach behind that left leg or in front. You can stay here, you can take that leg straight if you want more hamstring opening. Whichever works for you. Shift your weight just a little bit over to the left so that you've lined yourself up, because we tend to kind of drift over to the right in this pose. Let the shoulders start to soften. Now, if you're like me, have very short arms, this pose is kind of interesting. It will look a little bit different. It will be you're basically hanging on for dear life and your shoulders are off the floor. That's okay, you're still doing well. We can still do this pose. And then release what hold you have. Keep that cross. You're going to cross all the way over and then hug those knees into your chest. Now grab whatever you can. That could be your feet, your ankles, your knees, your calves, whatever that is. Shins, pull those in for sort of a reclined cow face pose. Gomukhasana. Use your biceps and triceps to pull them in a little bit more. Go ahead and release your hold. Take that same position, arms out to the side, palms up. Shift your hips over and drop those knees over to the left. Turn and look over to the right. Nice outer hip stretch, lower back stretch. Start to feel some of that space you've made, a little bit more release in the hip area. This will help with your movement, your mobility throughout the day. So I remember saying to people I didn't like morning practices, and I still don't. But I also remember reading a very important research project that said the mobility that you start with in the morning, whatever you develop in the morning, is what your mobility for the entire day is going to be. That definitely motivated me to get on the mat in the morning. Inhale, come back to center. Shift those hips straight down the middle, unwind. Same thing here again, start over. Take that left leg up, cross the ankle above that right knee. Flex the toes, press the knee away. This may be the knee that you need to do that with. Or if you can, reach back behind that right leg. This is a little bit harder for me because this left hip is not being very happy today. Shift over a little bit over to the right. You're gonna feel a little bit more. So if you kind of hang out over here, you'll feel something. If you hang out over here, you'll feel a lot more. Remember, if you have short arms, it's okay for your shoulders to lift off the floor. I know I've heard in classes a million times, let those shoulders sink to the floor. If your arms are short, that doesn't happen. Not unless your knee comes way into your chest. One more deep breath. Release whatever hold you have. Cross that leg all the way over. Supine cow face pose. Pull those knees in. So feel how this leg may feel completely different on top than the other one did. You can grab ankles, shins, knees. Pull them in a little bit more. One more deep inhale and exhale. Release the hold you have, arms out to the side. Press the heels, shift the hips, drop those knees over to the right this time. Oh, pop my back into place, that feels good. Turn and look over your opposite shoulder if that feels good for you. Here again, sensing what space you have made, what mobility you have built up here in this first practice of the day. Remember that your morning practice doesn't have to be some big sweaty power vinyasa flow class to really change your mobility, your movement, your flexibility, your strength for the day. One more deep breath. Turn back to center, engage your core, bring those knees back through the middle, unwind. Bring your knees back into your chest here. Remember that first little massage? We're going to end it with a little massage as well. And then because we can't leave half a baby hanging, we're going to reach inside, grab the outside of those feet or ankles, and come into full happy baby. So think about your lower back kind of softening to the floor, your pelvis softening to the floor. Using your biceps and triceps to pull those knees in a little bit closer to your arm and to the floor. Feet as if you're standing on the floor. This is my version of squat that works so much better for me. One more deep inhale and exhale. Release everything down, drop those feet out. Stretch one heel, then the next heel over for Shavasana. Tuck the shoulder blades underneath by kind of rocking side to side. Relax your hands, palms facing up. Remembering that Shavasana is the most important part of your practice, helping your body really realize what has happened and accommodate it into its day. It helps integrate everything that you've done in your practice, your breath, your movement, your thoughts. Maybe here, return to your intention for your practice. Using your breath, breathe into the hips, Feeling that newly opened space and opening. If you have more time to spend in Shavasana, I invite you to spend as much time as you possibly can. If this is all the time that you have, go ahead and rock your head side to side, walk your heels together, take your arms up overhead, stretch through your fingertips, through your feet, and stretch long and tall. Bend your knees, roll over to your right side, take a nice deep breath here. And then press all the way up to whatever seated position works best for you. Eyes closed or open, hands, palms up or palms down onto your knees. On your next exhale, drop those fingertips down to the floor. Inhale, sweep the hands all the way up. Open your eyes, look up at your palms. Exhale, hands to heart. Peace and namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope this helps give you a little bit more space and mobility in the hips. This is a practice I use time and again. Almost all of these poses are something I incorporate into a morning practice. It's pretty much what helps me keep moving each day. Also helps kind of release some of the soreness from working out or daily life, or prepares you for the next day as well. So if you enjoyed this practice, please like and comment down below. And if you're not a subscriber, join me each Thursday for a new upload early in the morning. So expect those, everyone. You can click the subscriber button over here to your right. And if you would like to experience more practices like this and yin and restorative and meditation, along with some live calls, some community and some connection and sharing with others like yourself, please join me on my member site. There's a link down below and up above to get you there, or if you would like to go, you can go to theyogaranger.vhx.tv. Would love to have you there. Love to have you join us for those practices. There are exclusive practices every single week there as well as some of these videos off of YouTube, almost all of them, without ads, which is kind of nice as well. So I hope to see you again soon. Have a great week.